What's going on, everyone? My name is Tim and this is the Warehouse Series. If you are new to the channel, I do online training for selection, for warehouse selection and forklift operators. Now, the main part of this is selection because that's what my viewers want to see, but I do have hundreds of videos on here, guys, so please navigate my playlist. If you're brand new to warehousing, you have no idea what to expect, in the description below, I'm going to put one of my selection videos up there so you can watch me select in the warehouse, and you're going to get a really good idea of what selection is in the warehouse if you're brand new and you're just applying for the job. Now, I've been at my job for almost 25 years, so I'm going to give my top 10 reasons why I think that you should not work in the warehouse, and this is for people that have no idea what to expect. So reconsider after you hear my top 10. And if you still think that you could work in that type of atmosphere, then go for it. You know, I always say that it doesn't hurt to try. If you're looking for work, it does not hurt. Go in, get trained at the warehouse, and you have probation weeks at all these places. So go work it. Get free paychecks as far as I'm concerned. As long as you're increasing your standards along the way, you're going to get free paychecks. You know, at the end of your probation week, if you can't do it, you can't do it. They let you go, you move on to another job, but at least you got to work for, you know, especially if you're in a hard way right now. You know, you can't make money, you're just tight on bills or whatever. Go apply at the warehouse and just do it. You know, give it your all, give it your best. At least you know during those probation weeks, whether it's 8 to 12 weeks, that you're going to have paychecks coming in your house. And that's the important thing. All right. There is no defeat in that. Go in, work the warehouse job. If you can't make it, you can't make it. But get those paychecks rolling in the house to help at your household. So let's get to my top 10. Well, before we get to my top 10, if you guys could do all this crap over here, I really appreciate it. Discord, link in the description below. Subscribe, thumbs up. And if you guys want to donate, that's my Venmo. I appreciate it. All right, guys, so let's get to my top 10. Let's get to number 10, and that is bad habits. There is one thing at the warehouse that I have noticed over my years, and it's on me too. If you are not preparing your food at home, you're picking up on bad habits. If you're eating at work, because a lot of our works have like this cafeteria type things where you're getting cold sandwiches. A lot of guys at my work order every single day. Either pizza, hoagie, wings, you name it, they're ordering it, guys. So you definitely pick up a lot of bad habits at work when you're working in the warehouse. So just learn to pack your lunch. All right, guys, number 9 is transportation. I could tell you right now that probably because a lot of these warehouses are not close to your home. And I could tell you right now that 90%, I'm just going to put a number on this, from what I have experienced at our warehouse, at least 90% of people that take buses to work do not make it. They end up, the bus is running late because you only get so many tardies and days that you're allowed to use at the warehouse. And if your bus is running late, well, that's a tardy on you. And if you're a new employee, that does not look good on you. So I've just learned from experience that people that take buses have trouble getting there if they don't have a car. The other reason why is you're working weekends, and a lot of buses don't run on Sundays after a certain time, or they don't run at all in certain places. So taking that bus on a Sunday is going to be a problem. So now you got to get an Uber or you got to get a Lyft to try to get your butt to work, which is going to cost you a ton of money. So transportation, I could definitely see this being one of the biggest things. I highly recommend having a car or a friend that works at work with you, or, you know, just try to find some type of transportation. Now, I want to also say this: if you're getting a warehouse job because you need a car, guys, go for it, man. You know, you got to put the grind in, and you got to save your money and go get that car. Because I'm telling you right now, you're working long hours. Your ride might be leaving at the end of your shift while you have to stay because you got forced for overtime. So transportation is by far one of the most things that I see people lose the job over. So make sure you have a car, or you have, you know, just reliable transportation. All right, guys, the next thing, number 8, is repetitive. This job is very, very, very repetitive. There is nothing new happening. It's the same crap every day. Especially, I put this down here. You can watch this video if you want to try to get an idea of what it's like to be in a union. And the reason why I put that on this one is because if you are starting off in a union, if you're working in a union, you will be throwing boxes for a very long time. You're going to be a warehouse selector, and you are going to be just selecting cases for for quite some time. Now, if you're not in a warehouse with a union, then you have the opportunity of doing different jobs in the warehouse, like forklift operator, loading trucks, things to that nature. So definitely watch this watch this video, give you a little idea of what it's like to be in a union. And but repetitiveness every day, same crap. All right, guys, number 7, you do not get a lot of time off when you start at these places. Now, back whenever I started, I had a total of, I was allowed to call off like 5 or 6 times, and you're only allowed to be late or leave early like maybe 5 or 6 times. Guys, you do not get a lot of time off on these places. You have to accumulate your time over, I know that's at any job, but this is a physical job, and that's why I bring it up. It's a very demanding physical job, and it's not like working an office job or working in an atmosphere where you're not doing labor intensive work all day long. So doing a labor intensive job with not a lot of time off per year, it's not easy. It is not easy to do. And a lot of people quit because of that. So I just want to give you a heads up. You might have to go a whole year with like maybe 5 days off. So be prepared to work a very long year, especially your first year. And that brings me to number 6. Or can you work with a lot of people? Now, this is obviously a little overcrowded, but I just want to give you an idea that you will be working with a lot of people if you're applying at a bigger shop. Now, there are some shops out there that you might only be working with like 10, 15, 20 people. So it all depends on the type of warehouse you're looking to go to. Now, at my warehouse, there's a couple hundred people on the floor. So, where you might have hundreds of people on the floor at like maybe one of these bigger Amazon warehouses, or even 1,000. I have no idea how big these warehouses get, but definitely you are working with a lot of people. I know a lot of the local jobs that you apply for, you might only be working with like 8 to 10 people at a time. Well, I'm telling you right now, you could work with hundreds of people at a time. So are you able to work around a crowd of people? And that brings me to number 5. I know a lot of jobs say this, but guys, just get used to it. When you apply for a job at a warehouse, you're just a number. You're always going to be a number. Doesn't matter how good of an employee you are. If you quit or you get fired, guess what? They're just going to replace you with another body. You are just a number. You're just another body. It is a thankless job. It's very rare that you hear a supervisor say thank you. So get used to not getting congratulated for doing good work. Usually when you're a good worker, you get more work to do. And when you're a bad worker, you get rewarded because you don't do any work. You don't do any more work. So weird atmosphere at a warehouse. Very rarely do you hear a supervisor say thank you. Now, we just got thank you the other day by one of our warehouses, and it's appreciated. It's absolutely appreciated. When that supervisor walked around and said, I really appreciate the job that everybody did, everybody should take that like, wow, thank you. We thank you for telling us thank you. But for 99.9% of the time, it is a thankless job. So prepared to work hard and get treated like crap. All right, guys, and that brings me down to number 4, and that is the stress of the job. Now, I know there's stress at every job, but when you have basically everyone in your warehouse is on a type of standard time, everyone is basically, it's every man for themselves, every man and woman for themselves. Everyone's trying to make their times. And sometimes there is a lot of ignorance in the warehouse because that person's just worried about them and not you. So there is a lot of stress in the warehouse. But you got to remember, you just got to take a deep breath and just keep pushing forward, because you have to work with these people every single day. The worst thing you could do is make enemies in the warehouse. And I have done that in my past when I was younger, and it was stupid. You make enemies in the warehouse, it makes work that much more harder and that much more stressful. So be kind and just keep pushing forward, and don't let the things bother you in the warehouse. All right, guys, and that brings me down to number 3, and that is long hours. Now, you could either be forced long hours or you could volunteer for those long hours. That's why I put the money behind this person, because people tend to forget a little bit about other things other than greed, if you want to so call it. Because I know people that work for reasons, and I know people that work because they're just addicted to working. I've put videos out on that. But guys, long hours at these places. depending on the type of warehouse you're at. Now, food industry warehouses seem like they have a lot more hours than others. So definitely inquire, you know, hey, do I have to work a lot of overtime at this job? And I hope they're upfront with you. I know our warehouse tries to be transparent with that, but you can be working long hours at a warehouse, so be prepared. All right, guys, that brings me down to number 2. You're always on the run. What do I mean by that? Is every order you do, you have to be well, you don't have to be at 100% on every order, but you have to be at 100% by the end of the week. So if you do an 80% on an order, your next order needs to be 120% because you need to get that time back up to 100%. So you're always on the clock. I always say it's like equivalent to taking a test at school. You have to get 100% on that test. If you get a 90%, then you got to pick your grade up a little bit if you want to get that 100%. But you have to make 100% at a warehouse for the end of the week. So you're always on the run. And this is what I was talking about earlier about, you know, the stress of other people being in your way and that. Everybody is trying to make a standard time. And so, guys, there's really no resting, all right? Because when you rest, you have to make that time up later. So this is one of the most demanding things that people quit into warehouses because they cannot make the standard. And that is what my channel is here for, to teach you how to build pallets so you can make this standard with no problem. Now, a lot of warehouses are different than others. 100% at my warehouse is a heck of a lot harder than 100% at other people's warehouses. So, you know, you're always on the run. It's very stressful. And this is definitely one of the biggest things. So let's get to number 1. All right, guys, number 1 is something that a lot of people don't talk about, and that is family problems. Now, in our warehouse, I cannot tell you how many people have gotten divorced. Countless. Over my 25 years, tons of people getting divorced. And that's for multiple reasons. And one, I think, is what I was saying about the people being addicted to working. You tend to forget about your kids at home. You tend to forget about your spouse. You just worry about money. All right. People get so hooked up on working overtime all the time and that, yeah, money's great. But guys, you got to draw a fine line somewhere. You got to spend time at home with the family. And when you're working long hours, you're not spending any time with your family. I mean, your kids grow up so quick if you have a family. It's absolutely insane how quickly my kids grown up. And I used to do this back in the day, guys. I used to spend a lot of time at the warehouse, and then I'm glad I clicked because, man, I'm glad I got to enjoy a lot of my, watching my kids grow up. But there's a lot of people at my work that did not see their kids grow up. It's sad. It's absolutely sad. But the family problems, and it's just you bringing your problems home. I told you, this is a very stressful job to do, and a lot of people bring that stress back into the household. So if you're working long hours, you come home, yell at your spouse for a little bit, go to bed, wake up, and you're back to work again. All right, it's a very bad thing to get into, and a lot of families fall apart from people working in warehouses. Well, guys, once again, I can only speak for my warehouse, and it seems like after being on Discord for quite some time, our warehouse is just like other warehouses. So I'm telling you right now, there is a lot of family problems at warehouses. Don't get tied up in work. Remember your family. That is my final one that I wanted to talk about. All right, guys, so that's the end of it. If you throughout this video you heard like a snoring sound, it's because you did. My dog is over here sleeping and he is snoring away right now. So I'm trying to speak up over him, and he's so cute over there, I don't want to wake him up. So guys, that's my top 10 for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you're not a subscriber, if you want to do that, give me a thumbs up, leave comments in the comment section. I'll see you guys next time. Have a wonderful day.